Today on Album on the Table, the Beatles.
AKA the White Album.
However, it's not actually called the White Album. It's just white in color.
Yeah.
The album would really be
self-titled.
Self-titled album.
Yes, it's the self-titled album, The Beatles.
Which, the very interesting thing about this is most bands put their self-titled album out first. You know, or very close. Maybe they release some stuff on their own, and then they get signed, and then the label says, "Oh, we're putting out a self-titled album."
Mm-hmm.
But this, I almost feel like them calling it the Beatles at this point in their career is almost saying, "This is what we want people to remember us by. This is the best example of who we are, and we want this to be the thing that endures. If we were to label the Beatles, what would people think?"
Okay. Alright. I never quite looked at it that way, so that's...
How did you look at it?
Well, to me, I would say that it's more... What do you call an album like this? First off, it's a double album, so
I think that's the other reason I feel that way.
There's so much material on there. How do you group it together? Because to me, when you title an album, it has to evoke some sort of theme. It has to evoke some sort of cohesive nature to the music that's presented on the record. And there's so much material there that there's only one way to categorize it all. It comes from the Beatles. It is them. You can't really say... Could you imagine them calling this The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill? Could you imagine them calling this album Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey?
Well, personally, I mean, I wouldn't choose those songs as the titles.
I wouldn't either.
I feel like the whiteness of it is like a coming clean and a new slate, because the album is so simplistic. You know, this is essentially a reproduction of the vinyl. So really, we just have a Raise the Beatles, which I'm sure you can't even see, and that's all white. This is all white. This is white. There's the song list and the four of them, where that's why I feel like this is such a statement of, this is who we are, this is how we want to be remembered.
This is probably the Beatles album I bought the most copies of.
You do have a lot of copies of it.
I bought one for myself when I was a teenager. I bought you one. I bought the stereo remaster when the remasters came out, and then I bought the mono versions of the remasters.
But I think you have another one.
Do I?
I don't know.
I don't know. But all that aside, there is tons of great material. I mean, you've essentially got 2 full albums of stuff to choose from.
Does it say how many songs on this one? No, I have to count them.
You'd have to count them all. But personally, for me and my tastes, this has probably the most songs on it that I enjoy.
30 songs.
30 songs. So 15 songs on each, or, give or take. Back in the USSR, love it. Dear Prudence, love it. I even like Obla Di, Obla Da. I like Glass Onion too. Wild Honey Pie is just fun. I love The Continuing Story of Bungalow Bill. While My Guitar Gently friggin' Weeps.
That song. That's... What's the quote? Something like somebody was quoted saying that's their favorite Lennon-McCartney song, and it was actually George Harrison's song. I don't remember who said that, but it happened.
Man. But interesting note, though. That song, as much as I love it, is a very good example of tension within the group. Because during the sessions for this album, more butting of heads between the members of the band. In order to kind of strengthen his own position in the recording of that song, George Harrison had become friends with the one and only Eric Clapton. so thus brought his friend Eric Clapton into the session that day to record the guitar solos that you hear on the recording.
Who then stole his wife.
That's much further down the road. We have not gotten to the Patty Boyd drama yet.
Some friend.
Whatever. George got Eric's Les Paul. Eric got George's wife. Apparently that's a fair trade.
So anyway, While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Unbelievable.
Is one of those songs where you can feel the guitar weeping.
Yep.
Yep.
Probably the only instance of Eric Clapton outside of Cream and maybe John Mayall and the Blues Breakers that I actually like. I've never been a huge Eric Clapton fan, other than his work in Cream. But this is like, I can understand why at that point in time people called Eric Clapton a god. Like, that's just a mind-blowingly good guitar solo. But even more, I like Happiness Is a Warm Gun.
I love that song.
Personally,
That song's amazing.
I think that's a great song.
Who doesn't like that song?
I know some people. Blackbird, right there. That song holds a very special place in my heart.
One of those acoustic songs that's just
vocals and guitar and nothing else, and you shouldn't have it any other way.
And they run in sound effect of a bird.
Yeah.
Sound effects.
That song holds a very near and dear place in my heart.
Love Rocky Raccoon.
Oh,
okay?
That's such a great song.
It's not fun. I mean, maybe it is, but it's very interesting, actually. It's one of those classic kind of examples where this could be a country song because it's that much of a storytelling song, you know? And, what is it, North Dakota or South Dakota?
One of the Dakotas.
One of the Dakotas, sorry, that I don't remember which. But in that, in and of itself, the time and place are even country. And I know, there are people who do not like that song, but I think it's genius. And
Why Don't We Do It in the Road is just fun.
Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
That just exhibits...
I don't get how one could infer anything like what Charles Manson inferred from that song. I don't get it.
I think Helter Skelter is just a statement on the view of the world at the time, you know? And you could put the statement Helter Skelter on the world at any time, which makes it so timeless, you know?
Absolutely.
There's always something crazy happening, and I think that song, even if like half the words you're like, wait, what? When I get to the top of the...
When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide. Then I stop, then I turn, then I go for a ride. Then I get to the bottom, and then I see you again.
It's like, just everything's topsy-turvy. It's just showing how everything is just like that.
Exactly.
Helter Skelter.
Exactly like she just said.
And it's a great,
Birthday, great song. Your Blues, great song.
Oh my gosh, Your Blues. Okay. Your Blues. First of all, it's your. Y-E-R. Ha. It's not that I don't love blues. I love blues. But most people that are really good at blues are like really old epic dudes that like are sitting on the corner of the street. They nailed a blues song in Your Blues. Oh, when I'm so lonely, wanna die. I love it. I love it. That is one of the best blues songs like also ever written. Like
probably
just one of the best. I'm not saying it's the best because I haven't heard every blues song, but that is an excellent example of the blues.
There's a sort of reckless abandon to it too that it drives.
John's voice is like,
yeah, it just drives everything home. Mother Nature's Son is another one of my favorites.
There's a lot of Beatles songs with women's names. My favorite is Julia.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the melody. Maybe it's the way, the warmth of the voice that's singing about Julia, but I think it's the most beautiful song about a girl.
Could be. Yeah. I think, for me, out of all the songs, the one that will always mean, especially on this album, will always mean the most to me is Good Night. Because as a young boy, my dad used to sing that to me to put me to sleep. So for me, hearing that song, it always harkens back to those memories of being comforted, and it touches me. And when I hear the original version and knowing that the intention of the song was indeed a lullaby, it was intended for that express purpose, it really shows how music written for some express purpose can touch people to use it for, themselves and in their own lives, and what it can do. I would even go so far as to say that I might do that for my children someday. And I am a terrible singer.
No, you're not.
Thanks. I appreciate that. But this 2 full albums worth of timeless music. Absolutely timeless. This definitely, again, of those 3 that I usually recommend people listen to along with Sgt. Pepper, this is one of those 3 that I recommend. So, on that note, the White Album, the self-titled
The Beatles.
This week's
Listen to
album
it.
on the table, listen to it.